สวัสดีครับสวัสดีไมค์
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
ไมค์สวัสดีครับคุณเล็กครับ so first congratulations Mike were you surprised yourself at the number of viewers with the last episode
Well, congratulations to us all. You got both you and Krulek are members of our White Lotus family. So
yeah
a win for me is a win for the show and a win for all of us. So congrats to you.
uh,
I was very, yeah, the show is you never know if people will show up, and when they do, it's amazing, especially in this media landscape where everything is kind of balkanized and atomized, and people
yeah
find things through, YouTube or their phone, and so to have something that is at least here, I don't know in Thailand, but in America, everybody would watch every week and they
yeah
would talk with their friends and they would have parties and so having something that brings everyone together to talk about is exciting as a creator, obviously.
I was quite amused by some of the comments he said Mike White killed Chelsea he will, he will have to pay for it
Yeah,
they get so much
yeah.
involved in the plot right
Mm. I feel like to me, that's always a good sign, if they care enough to get
yeah
outraged.
yeah
I think last year we killed Jennifer Coolidge, who was this heroine of the show in some ways. And so, I think it's part of the DNA of the show to sometimes kill your darlings.
yeah that was deliberate on your part right
Well, I thought it would be interesting to do a story like a true, there's not a lot of romance in the show, and
no
to
no
have
no
have a romantic couple that you really realize are destined to be together, but they really are going to be together in death, and so maybe kill them
ah,
both together, and then somehow there's a little bittersweet lining there because their fates will be continue on.
I see and Kulek you were in the finale you were very angry
She was amazing.
she was amazing huh?
the one who ordered to kill.
Right. Kill, right?
It's a Thai
But
woman,
yeah,
They're very nice, so they can be fierce.
Yes.
yeah. And it's not in her character.
Well, you notice the ending when I drove out with Kaitok, the bodyguard. I have a little smile on my
I
face.
saw that. I saw that. Sort of relieved, right?
Somebody was
Mhm.
asking me, was I happy that my husband was dead, so I had all his properties.
Yeah, there was a hidden message there. So, Mike, what do you think was the real, or the combination of reasons that this particular season was so popular?
I think maybe because the show had already made a lot of inroads into the culture, so people already know the brand in a way.
Yep.
And then I think, I don't know, I just think I think I honestly, I don't know. I just think that by the end, in the last few years, I think more people have caught up with the earlier seasons, whether they watch it on a plane or they watch it when they're streaming or whatever. And so there's an audience is built. But I think also I think for whatever reason, it became a zeitgeisty show. So each week people would do TikTok videos about it, or
Yeah.
they would, there's all these different yeah,
Mm,
people, it just kind of captured the imagination of people. And
mm,
so it became a kind of must watch. So everybody wanted to be in on the conversation. So they would watch it. And
mm.
that was exciting, obviously, to be a part of for me.
It becomes a must watch. And has Thailand got to do with it? You think?
I think Thailand, I think there's a romance to Thailand that we hopefully captured.
Mm,
There's, the kind of I think the landscape and just the beauty of it, and
Yes.
I think everybody, it's so far from America, which is our original audience. And
Mhm.
I think the people, of course, know Thailand, but I don't know, the ways they experience Thailand through other movies or whatever. I think we hopefully, it seems like we got a lot of people excited about Thailand and people who wanted to visit Thailand. And it's actually very funny that like the restaurants that I don't know if you read these articles, but in the UK and America, on the nights that the show would air, the Thai like nobody could get Thai food because everyone was ordering Thai food for their
That's right.
parties, and
I
the
read
Thai
about
food
it.
had like went up like 25%. So like
Yeah.
there was definitely like Thai, and all these new flights have been through from America to Bangkok.
Yeah.
Uh, there's like Bangkok Airways bought 30 new planes to like service all
Wow.
the people with the interest, and the hotel bookings have gone up. So
Right.
certainly something about the show has made people really excited about Thailand. So I feel like then I feel like we did some service in that sense to put a positive light on Thailand and its beauty.
Definitely, definitely. It has a very good positive impact on tourism and maybe the image of Thailand, but it may be a mixed picture as well because some people say you dig deep into the dark side of Thailand as well. But I think that's part of the drama, right? Kulit,
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think that the Thailand factor in this?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Especially when when you talk about the foreign movies, see Thailand more on the dark side because I was always offered, to be a part of prostitute or the,
Yeah,
it's like in the movie,
yeah.
Funny to me. It's very real.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And we are very grateful, for doing this, especially bringing up the Buddhism thoughts.
Yeah.
It's very important for everybody in the world,
Mm-hmm.
to change.
Mm-hmm.
This series, White Lotus, is about changing, and it's amazing to see that.
Mm-hmm. It's about morality, it's about greed, it's about impermanence. But I don't know whether Mike deliberately, put the theme, the Buddhist theme, or is it just, life choices? I understand you spent quite some time before in Thailand just to think about your
Hmm.
third season story.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we chose Thailand. I had been in Thailand a little bit, but not much, and hadn't traveled around much. And so obviously I felt I needed to get a better sense of the country, even though it's not about local Thai experience as much as it really is about Westerners coming there. I still felt like, to really give it some specificity and authenticity that I needed to stay there. And I've also been interested in Buddhism for many years now, and read Buddha. I've on my own have been studying Buddhism.
Wow.
I felt like it would be interesting to kind of use some Buddhist concepts as like sort of organizing principles for how I devise the characters and the situations they're in, and each of the characters are dealing in. It's not necessarily something that everybody can access, but like that was kind of the idea that there's a bit of a Buddhist parables in each of these
Yeah. Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
And so that kind of inspired the writing of the show.
Mm-hmm. Were you, reading books by Thich Nhat Hanh, or the Dalai
Yes.
Lama? Yes.
Yes. So those and others. And yeah, so the show is a little bit about identity and how being too attached to our identity,
Yeah. Yeah.
however we see that, becomes a trap, and
Mm-hmm.
how we can lose,
Mm-hmm.
how that can create suffering for us. That we're too attached to this idea of self, that can bring pain for,
Yeah. Yeah. That was beautiful. That was beautiful, and thank you for giving me that script because people watching it think that I'm a wise old man now.
You are a wise old man. You're not that old, but you're definitely wise.
I love to ask, how did you choose Kun Sutichai? This is it's amazing to us.
It was.
Did you know him?
Well, Non, our casting director, and Bird, she introduced me to both of you, and I didn't know that Suchichai had this, illustrious career. His audition was perfect, and we'd seen a lot of people, and then when I mentioned that your reading was so great. Then I learned that you have this, that you're quite famous in Thailand and beyond, and so that was exciting to me because it felt, and I also feel this is true about you too, Krulek, obviously.
Oh yeah, Krulek. I understand that she was hunted down at Hoi Hin.
Yes. But it felt like it would be cool to involve people who are in the Thai cast who, as Lisa as well, people that are great ambassadors to the country as well as great performers for the show. So, we were very lucky to get you both to lend your talents and faces.
Oh, it was a great learning opportunity for me. And for Kulek, she was a professional. I never acted before, so I was quite interested in proving that on TV I could also maybe learn how to act in a movie.
You were great. You were a natural. You were amazing.
Kulek was great, right? Kulek, how you said in the beginning when you saw the script first, you thought of saying no, right?
Well, I didn't see the script first, but as my experience, I was always offered a part being prostitute.
but not this one. No.
This one, I was told about the story, and and after I met with Mike, to me, the part is interesting, and frankly, I'm a teacher. I see people through their eyes. I thought, oh, he's a good man. He wouldn't ruin his life.
You mean you looked at Mike and you said he's a good man, he wouldn't ruin your life, right?
And
I hope not.
It was really, to me, I thought this is Buddhism, and this is Buddhism teaching through movies and television. And it's a great thing. It's a very useful thing that I'm always go for this kind of script. To me, it's quite an honor. And and Mike said one thing, he's going to bring me back. And that's what I was afraid. And he really brought me back. I'm now every day I'm full of messages, Instagrams, and invitations, and
right.
So,
You get a new life. You get a new life after White Lotus.
You're gonna have to come back from Hua Hin more often.
Right.
TikTok.
My song, it has been in YouTube for about 20 years, and nobody care. And everybody looking at the song, and I think they're singing the song too, which is an old folk music. And I'm glad that the young people now, they appreciate the old things.
Right, that's right, so because of White Lotus. But then, Mike, of course, Lisa played an important, very outstanding role in this, right?
Yes, and she was amazing. She was so easy, and she's very talented. She's a natural actress. She hasn't done, I don't think, any acting, but she's just very natural. And, my concerns about casting her had more to do with just the amount of attention that, comes with her because she's such a international famous person.
Right.
But she was so easy, and there was it was so uncomplicated, and she was
natural.
and also just a fun, positive presence on set, easy.
She's not like a superstar, she didn't act like a superstar. People say she's just like a little village girl back in her hometown. chatting just like a little innocent girl, right?
Yes, but she can be very she's can be silly and a little mischievous too. So she's fun. It's not yeah,
Yeah.
she's very uncomplicated, but she's also a lot of fun. She's fun to have on set. She's laughing and light, and she has a great spirit.
Yeah. And Crew Lek, you also close to her during the shooting.
Well, we're only in the scene together once. But we sit and talk a lot, through lunches and dinners, and she's amazing. I'm very proud of her. She's very polite, and with the Thai manners, she's really very good. Really touched my heart. And I'm so proud that she's a big star, but she's still keeping the culture, the manners, and they respect the elderly people or the friends around her. I'm so glad that I get to meet her and really feel good about her.
But Mike, the overall Thai cast, you happy about the Thai?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was obviously you guys and Lisa are, were great, and I've talked about you and then Tame and Dom who play Gaitak and Pornchai they were also just so great and perfect for their parts and great faces and just great natural actors. And also just just in general, like interacting with like whether they were extras or had small parts.
Yeah.
It was so and we had, obviously had a very big Thai crew. It
Oh, yeah.
was it felt a big responsibility to do right by Thailand because the Thai people were doing so right by the show and they were such incredible collaborators in the whole process.
The overall Thai team in, production, in acting, in supporting roles, are they, by your standards, are they okay? I mean, seriously,
beyond. I think that was the hardest working crew and the best crew I've ever worked with. I honestly do. It was, it was difficult conditions because as you know, Thailand is very hot.
yeah.
And the show is, a beach show, so we're always in the elements. We're either out on the beach or but like in the sun. And
Yeah.
also we were going from night shoot to day shoot to night shoot to day shoot. And it was very hard on the crew, it was hard on all of us.
Yeah.
And everyone never complain, always just hardworking. They know exactly what they're doing, and a great camaraderie amongst them, where everybody, you never see people. This is, as an American, when people get grumpy or irritable, you feel it.
You feel it.
I feel like the type, I think it's in the culture that like, there's not I think people are very reluctant to show their frustration, their anger.
Yeah.
And so it really does create a different kind of vibe amongst the crew and just our general group when you look at you're in these difficult conditions and everyone's pretty stoic and they're just taking it in a way that's that feels like okay, if they can handle this, I can handle it too. If they're gonna be strong, I will be strong too.
Right. Yeah, Crew Lek, your contacts with the White Lotus crew, apart from the Thai, because your involvement with the overall team, all the way from Mike White to the other producers and the other actors and actresses. How was your experience different from your previous encounters?
Well, I was at first very scared of the Hollywood crew team.
Yeah.
So, but they're very friendly. They ask me questions and we talk about all kind of things. But amazing thing that I learned, in the green room, the room where we rest during shooting, that they not silly people. They talk about books that they read.
Yes.
And Kun Scott Glenn was practicing his martial arts to keep fit. And and he was asking me where should I learn about martial art in Thailand and things like that. And I thought, my gosh, he's 80, and he
Yeah.
doesn't stop learning or practicing. He's so professional, and he keeps to be professional. And we should be like that. We should
Right.
keep being professional until we die. This is something that I learned because in Thailand, acting is more like a fun thing
Right.
because
Right.
there's not enough work, and it's not in Thailand they call ten kin ram kin, which is
Yeah,
a
Ramkin.
whole
Yeah.
profession.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not many people serious about what they're doing, and that's some are, which I really appreciate that.
Yeah. 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 So the theme, the overall theme of the season 3, Mike, were you trying to put Buddhism, greed, Western habits, Western choices together? Did you succeed?
Did I succeed? Well, I feel like you know, for me, I feel like I told the story I wanted to tell. How people take it or whether they appreciate it or that's subjective and it's hard to say. I feel like considering the success of the show and how many people watched it, I mean, that obviously is a metric to make you feel like, okay, well, this worked for people and people wanted to see it. And as far as like what the message is inside, to me, it was just about, again, identity and, one character who's the father of the family who feels so much pressure to be this, there's, pressure on him from his family. Everybody looks to him. He feels, and he's failed in this way and he's trapped and he doesn't want to reveal his failings
Yeah.
and is ready to kill his family before he wants to tell them the truth about himself. And then you have the conversely, the story of Walton Goggins, the guy who he didn't have parents, he didn't have anybody wanting anything for him, and in his mind he's a victim. And so he's created this whole story around this victim, being not having that parentage. And so he is also, someone is like has too much pressure and someone who has had nobody wanting anything for him at all. And just I thought it would be interesting to show how they're both trapped in this attachment to identity. And then the women as well are always comparing themselves to each other and how they're also just constantly kind of oppressed by their thinking about themselves as they compare themselves to their friends. So those were some of the ideas underneath it, and this kind of Buddhist idea of like detaching from self as a way to get out of this sort of cycle of suffering, and some of them have tragic ends, and some of them don't, and some of them come like grow and change, as Krulek said.
Well, I like the line that says we hold that the thought that it's talking about, we hold power instead of softness. It's really very globalized. A lot of leaders, or even us, we hold power instead of being kind. We solve problems by using power instead of being kind. So I think this thought of this White Lotus really touched the heart of many people, and it's a good thing that you don't give the clue how Redcliffe gonna solve the problem. You leave it to the people to imagine.
Yeah.
So
Until
we talk about how he's going to get out of his situation, how he's going to tell his children. So it will be the next episode, maybe.
So, Mike, you call this satire, or is it comedy, or together?
I feel like there's obviously some satirical parts to it, but this one I feel like is it was more of a I saw it as like like they're kind of Buddhist parables.
Ah, okay.
And then I've, obviously injected some humor into it because I think in life people are funny and
Yeah,
serious. I try to like make it
yeah,
lively and but it's a little more serious than I think the other seasons as far as what it's trying to talk about in a way. And I think that yeah, so I think that like this last episode, I could tell that people were it was heavier and kind of more yeah, like more of a punch to the gut than some of the other two seasons
yeah.
at least.
Yeah, I think it's a punch in the gut. Yeah, yeah, it's obvious because very few viewers expected the ending to be so dramatic, so hot and
Yeah.
unexpected.
But it's beautiful, the way she died, Chelsea. It's
Yeah,
peaceful, and it just so it's a different kind of acting that we usually see when people die. Just
yeah.
peaceful when she died, and that really beautiful acting.
And
Yeah.
it was part of the yin yang parable, right, Mike? Yin yang, when you see the bodies, one up
Oh
facing
yeah.
the
Yeah,
other side out,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful too.
Well, they are very yin yang, the
Yeah.
two of them as a couple.
Mhm. So everything very symbolic, So every shot, every the thing about the three monkeys and the three children, it's just beautiful. It's a great writer. Really have to
Mhm.
praise you.
Thank
And I'm
you.
so glad, I'm part of this because I learned so much, especially from your directing. And
Mhm.
I'm using that now in my work now, and
Oh
it
wow,
works very well,
that's such a
Before we
compliment.
rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, but now I just say, do what you want, like what you said to us.
Now tell us, Mike, what's your directing style that Krulek so much appreciates? Directing
Uh,
without directing,
I think to me, I think the most important part of it for me is casting and
yeah.
casting someone who either has the qualities that I'm looking for in the role
Mhm.
or who, I just can tell it gets what it is and so then once you get the right person, sometimes at the beginning it's kind of like a new instrument where I'll push and poke and see
Mhm.
if they can do different things and see what the instrument is. And then at some point you realize what you're working with and then you just kind of want to lean into the qualities that you find appealing about them or how they will work with the character and then it's just about kind of modulating. I
Mhm.
think with film acting, a lot of it is naturalism and making sure things feel natural and
Mhm.
yet getting some of the comedy or getting some of the, spikiness of the dialogue or something. So I just try to do little things, but in general, I'm trying to be an enthusiast and make people feel comfortable and I feel like that environment allows people to be natural and be comfortable and be the thing that I'm hoping they'll be. So I'm usually just trying to keep a lighter energy and make people feel like they're comfortable on set and so I think that leads to better performances, honestly.
Kulek, usually our impression of the director, a tough director, is screaming, shouting, showing
Mhm.
anger, right? But Mike is not that kind of a director. No?
I've never seen him angry, which is amazing. I've, which is good, I'm trying to be something like that myself too now. But amazing, under the pressure, the heat. I've never
Oh,
seen you angry or looking stressful, but you're always bubbly and giving us good, great, that kind of encouragement.
That means he's good at hiding his feelings. I'm sure he gets upset too, frustrated at times, or most of the times.
Like I said, I'm taking my cues from the Thai crew.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the Thai cruise? I mean, is there anything you would like to give us suggestion?
Yeah. Be professional and you don't have to be nice. Just say what you think of us.
Honestly, I think, it's funny because as the manager, you appreciate certain qualities,
Yep.
but as the friend, you think maybe those things, it's like as the manager, it's great that all of the Thai crew is very, in a way, I don't know the docile or just kind of more accepting of certain conditions. But sometimes as a friend, I'd be like, you should say you don't want to. It's like sometimes it feels like you just don't want, because you don't. It's like it's hard to know. It's hard for me as someone who's a foreigner, but who's also pretty astute at trying to gather the vibe of what's going on and how people are feeling. Sometimes it's hard to tell how they're feeling, and it's hard to know if we're pushing too much or if it's what I mean? Like so that part of it I think is being able to voice your frustrations with a bad work environment or being able to push yourself forward a little bit and I think that that's something that is so it's like anything there's the good is also mixed in with things that maybe have some problem too, which is like sometimes being too passive or being too quiet in the face of something that maybe you should say something or whatever. So that's just that to me is it's not a criticism so much as just an observation and I think that like someone like me benefits from everyone being a certain way, but then are they like is that okay? How is that for them? Like you wonder if that's good for them in their situation.
Yeah.
That's the typical Thai character. We don't express our feelings, and we don't talk about how we feel. I think it's the whole nation's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for there's some, but if someone express too much, people don't like it.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Especially adults, they don't like children to talk too much,
Yeah.
Which is totally different from Western culture, right?
But it's it's my suggestion. Talking your feeling is good, but it's important to find words or ways of speaking nicely. And that's through reading, that's through watching good shows and good languages, read poetry or whatever. So you find nice words to talk. So you can always talk about your feelings, but most Thai people they cannot find the right words. So sometimes when they talk, it comes badly, because they don't have enough vocabularies.
Maybe to express the real feelings. Well, what have you learned about Thailand and about the whole experience this time, Mike? You spent how many months shooting? 8 months?
We were shooting for 7 months, I think 7 months,
Yes.
but then prepping for months, and I was there writing for months. So I was pretty much there for a year and a half over a span of 2 year about a year and a half, year over year, definitely. It's a beautiful place. I'm so excited. I feel so lucky to have had this experience. And to, when you go and you visit and you're on vacation, you don't really you don't really absorb the culture in the same way as like something like this, where you really are collaborating with Thai people and really living there and very immersed in it. And I have to say it's a place I feel like I feel drawn to come back, and I feel like I've made friends that I want to stay in
Oh,
touch with. And I feel like yeah, I just feel like I learned a lot from the Thai culture and the Thai people, and
mhm.
it's a magical place, and I think that it's exciting for me to feel like I've done some small part in putting attention to it with people that may not have thought about Thailand or considered it. And I know when the earthquake happened a few weeks ago, it was like I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, oh, I really am connected to Thailand, because I was like, it felt like something that had happened not to me, but like where it hits close to home. You wonder about the people there, like what happened. And it's like, those places. And so it becomes yeah, it's part of you.
A lot of people, settle down in Phuket, in Samui, and work out of, the
Yeah.
island.
Yep.
You could be doing anything, but now because of technology, you can work from anywhere. And beautiful place like Samui. I don't know, Hawaii is better than Samui or Phuket.
Totally. I mean, they're both islands, but it's a totally different
Uh,
feeling. Hawaii is beautiful too. The
I
weather maybe is a little milder in Hawaii, which I
know,
appreciate.
I know. One of
Okay,
the critics, sorry, could we go on?
I was just saying, during the earthquake, Michelle called me.
Oh,
She called me, "How are you?" And she was really worried. And
mm,
I just thought, this is a family, I'm really
this is
touched
great. Yes.
because she's a big star, and she's in New York, and
Yeah.
she worries about us, Thailand, and
That's great.
Krulek, and I was really,
That's great.
really, yes.
One of the critics say that Mike specializes in characters who leave viewers unsure of how to feel about them or about themselves. And that with White Lotus, he has found a way to provide plenty of pleasure along with the pain, both a social satire and murder mystery. Do you agree with that assessment, Mike?
Yeah. It's fun to show, yeah, both different sides of people, and they're not all good or they're bad. They're mixed up.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. And in the end, the finale, what do you want the viewers to feel? I'm sure a lot of mixed feelings. Why is this person dead and why is this person still alive? What is the reason behind it? Is it fair? Is it destiny? What kind of feelings do you think viewers will have?
Well, you want to have a visceral emotional reaction, obviously, to the deaths, and then to, some of the resolutions.
Mhm.
Um, it's not just one idea that I'm trying to get across. It's just, in a way, I think, for me, I feel like the audience that comes and doesn't think about it in literal terms, that these are literal people, that there is this kind of idea of a way into, concepts and ideas, that like these characters are all of us. We're all of these people. We all are, we have a little bit of each of these people in us.
Mhm.
And that so that there's this kind of, yeah, I think with this one, like this idea of a parable, so that some things are a little more vague on purpose, so that you can kind of enter it, and it's not just a concrete character. It's
Mhm.
a it's a portal to thinking about ideas and situations, and how we are, as people.
Great. And you achieved your objective, I think.
Uh, I mean, I'm happy with it. Again, it's everybody's going to have a different opinion, and
Yeah.
some people are mad about the ending. Some people loved it. Some people, like there's this, once it starts, once 20 million people watch it, you're gonna get a lot of different reactions. But the fact that we got such a big amount of interest is satisfying.
A negative reaction is better than no reaction, right?
Well, I don't know about that. I definitely better to them to watch, even if they're like unhappy with some element, than to not watch at all. That's for sure.
Another thing I like to ask, how do you get all those Thai songs?
Thai songs.
Episodes, I mean, they're very well chosen, we must say. And
Oh, well, thank you. A lot of it is we have a music supervisor and editors and Coon Bird. Like there was a yeah, there was we got a sort of library of different Thai music and kept trying things and yeah, it was a process. But I'm glad you liked them.
Oh yeah, most Thai viewers liked it very much and thought it was a very
we laugh when we when
we
we
all laugh
songs.
because for the
We
songs
never thought that it would be suitable for something like this, but it is. So so everything is good. So because some of the songs are very up country, and not many people listen to it. Only in some groups, but it's just amazing that it's well, it's well kind of mixed, with the modern thoughts, the Western world. It's very well chosen.
yeah, I saw a lot of people who said, "Hey, how did they pick all those songs?" Because they were, classic and they were up country folk songs and really hit the
Not my
feelings.
song.
Yeah.
Well,
But the Thai dialogue between Muk and
I thought,
Kai Tok, how did you produce it? You wrote it in English originally, got someone
Yes,
to
I wrote
translate
it in
it?
English, and yes, I had a producer who is Thai, Kun Bird,
Yeah,
and
but
she worked with me with the translations. And then when we got actors like Krulek, I, tried to encourage them to, if they had adjustments they felt that way they seemed more authentic to their character, to go and adjust the dialogue accordingly. So I was obviously I don't speak Thai, and I wanted to make sure that it felt as real as it could be, considering that
was very good.
it's hard for me to judge.
It was very good. It was, typical of young couple chatting, teasing each other. Krulek, the way Lisa acted, was that her normal style, or did she really act a different girl? The way she spoke to Kai Tok, in Thai we would say น่ารักนิ่มๆ Is that her character, real character?
This is very natural. The way she speaks is like the way the modern young generation nowadays.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to know, whether she is like that in her natural way, and a different kind of person in her acting role.
I think she didn't act. It's just her natural. Young people speak like that.
No,
And
yeah.
at first, it's really for elocution is not the best, but it's cute, and it's nowadays people talk like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, it's good because she doesn't have to speak perfectly, like us old people. That it shows the generation now how we are nowadays. So I think this is perfect.
I was impressed because she was acting as if she was not a superstar. She was just a village girl, falling in love, or, not quite sure whether she liked the boy, but then she was a little bit critical of his cowardice, so to say. She didn't want to shoot, and you're a man, you have to shoot, right?
Yeah, but there's one time that Kai Tok is raised in England, so his Thai is not really as good as us. And he came, and the scene of the shooting scene, he came and he asked me what happened, but he said it in the kind of translation English อะไรเกิดขึ้น
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 no no
I was trying to go along with it, but I thought, no, better cut. You know, you have to say เกิดอะไรขึ้น You know,จะไม่ใช่อะไรเกิดขึ้น You know, so
Okay.
that's funny because I almost laughed, when I heard that.
Okay, Mike, last question. The Thai government happy with this so far?
I did meet the Prime Minister, and I did a little Q&A in Bangkok with different ministers of the government, and I think they're very happy because Thailand is, like I said, there's a lot of interest in America in terms of tourism, and I just think in general, I just think there's just a lot more awareness about Thailand for whatever reason because of this show. It's very funny, but I think that interest is turning into people wanting to visit, and like it's gone beyond just the hotels, but like properties, touring, lots of different things. So I would think the government would be happy about that aspect of it.
Okay, season 4. Have you decided where it's going to be?
No, I don't know. It's gonna be hard to top Thailand, that's for sure.
I
So
know.
I don't
It's
know.
going to be a tough act to follow, but then
Yes.
we are all happy and congratulations again. And thank you, Mike, for bringing Thailand into the White Lotus series. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณ
Thank you
มาก
for
ครับ
doing the
คุณ
show.
เล็กครับ สวัสดีครับ
Thank you for all the presents you sent to me. There's lots of presents. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. ขอบคุณมากครับ คุณเล็กครับ สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ